If we're being honest, the biggest investors are on LinkedIn, they're on Twitter. That is the truth. In fact, when they do the due diligence against you, they want your link. When you're good at what you do and people get to see you, it's not just about being good. It's people getting to see you, experience you, and like you. I'm in Africa, man. The first thing that you gotta recognize is the fact that African markets and Western markets are not the same. Most people think fundraising, every business needs fundraising. In fact, there's a difference between traditional businesses and startups, you see. And then still with traditional businesses, there's still service-oriented businesses. They don't need funding, they need you. First of all, honestly, you have to actually talk to people, talk to investors, network. And then I'm talking, for instance, the best way that I've got to see, go on LinkedIn. I'm big on networking myself. You want the truth?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the show, Mr. Moahi Onkabete. What it do?
I'm even hitting the microwave. Thank you for having me today, bro.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Deep Dive Sessions. My name is Mphomo Tauro. Our goal with the show is to bring you in proximity to the people and ideas that will show us that it is possible and it can be done and eventually help us achieve on our dreams and on our goals. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Buru, about Lukre, anything you call it. And today we're joined by a special guest, a young man hailing from Botswana, but also located somewhere in the UK, I get it. And you know, a catalyst fellow.
Yeah.
My man, I've been
And a
trying this the whole time.
Fellow.
And a Techstars fellow.
Yeah.
Catalyst fellow, Techstars fellow, published author.
Yeah, I wear a lot of badges.
Black belt. We just found that out. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the show, Mr. Moahi Onkabete. What it do?
I'm even hitting the microwave. Thank you for having me today, bro. Yeah.
I didn't know you could do the black belt though, eh?
Hey, like I told you,
14
it's
years.
just a fat that says something. Yeah.
Crazy thing, because right now when you talked about it, I thought about this. I think I read a stat 2/3 of America's 2/3 of the Fortune 500 CEOs have gone through some form of discipline, either the military, karate, and everything. And you're saying you did 14 years in this. And I definitely, well, let me not speculate. Let me ask you, do you think that had a correlation in terms of just the discipline and just, you know, just this discipline of getting into business and getting things done?
No doubt, 100%. If we're being factual, a good part of my youth was spent in a dojo. So you find that I'm not used to the run-of-the-mill, day-to-day aspects that my peers were exposed to, not saying anything, but in the sense that I didn't have social skills.
Yes.
You see, and all I knew was yes sir, no sir. You know, so by the time that I got to pursue a passion with the same veracity and passion as I did during my sports time, it shows. You know, so the discipline has a part to play in it all.
And it's 14 years in, eh?
Yeah.
So credit to your parents.
For a good part of the whole period, they didn't actually appreciate it up until, you know, I got to like senior level and then the money was coming in, you know? That's when things started changing.
Oh, you went pro like that?
Yeah. A lot of people in my class, if I can say that, went pro like that. You know? So it was a good time for karate at the time. In fact, a good season between 2009 and 2019, all you could hear was Kaya Groth.
And
for
sure. I was about to say
because
that.
it was popping. Now it's more athletics and Nigel Amos and the likes. But yeah.
For sure. Yeah, but you guys are still there.
Yeah.
Alright.
In fact, Kaya himself is going to be performing at the African Opens, Gaborone Open Games in a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen them in a while, though.
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's get to it, man. Let's talk about the money. Let's get to it. So first of all, let's talk about Aurora.
Yeah.
And its genesis. Actually, before Aurora, let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey, just how you got into space. Obviously, we can see where the discipline is coming from. But now let's talk about it now coming to business. Where did business start for you?
In all honesty, You know these clubs you join at school,
Yeah.
your debate teams, karate,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because I didn't know how to socialize, I joined those to try and socialize, So I ended up in these entrepreneurial classes. And then, now I'm a teacher, my brother. But
Yeah.
so a good amount of the time, it was always, what are you doing at this time? You should be doing this. And a lot of
Schedule.
structure. Yeah. So by the time that I got to graduate and I was heading straight for employment, the first question that my employer asked me was, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I kid you not, I told her that I want to be you. So in this entire period that you're going to be employing me, know that I'm going to be your underling in the whole process. She laughed at me and she found it funny. But after that, she actually went on to become my mentor for the first phase. And then every single day, they kept me under their wing for quite some time, the entire executive team. And retrenchment came, COVID hit, And the senior director actually came to me and was like, look, we can't keep you. There's no money like that, but we're looking to have services like yours continuously on retainer. So instead of working for me on a day-to-day basis, why don't I call you as per need? You see, at the time, I didn't have much of an option.
What were you working?
I'm an IT professional, you see. So I was working at Goldwagon, to be exact, you see. So now it's more about car parts than it is about IT.
Goldwagon.
Yeah.
My man.
It was luck.
Yeah.
So by the time he let go and he kept calling me in for these small little tenders, I would make my salary in a week, And then now week 1 happens, week 2 happens, week 3 happens. And I'm like, so there's money here. Yeah? Now I asked him, how about I handle all your stores as per need? So I only come in exactly when you need me. And then there was no one else he could call, because you find that somebody like me who's, let's say, I'm a bit passionate about what I do. So you find that you employed me and then I'm like 7 different individuals doing all the tasks for a smaller fee, you see? So now by the time that he was trying to look at other people, it ended up happening that they couldn't keep up with the type of work he needed. So he was forced to go back to me and then hire me for each and every store he had. You see, so my mentor at the time, the female CEO, then decided to part ways with the company herself, leaving me with the senior director, of which he then decided that he also is going to keep me under his wing and then keep offering me these contracts, introduce me to different people. And then from there, just kept going up. That's where I realized I actually have a neck for this thing. Yeah, because now you end up in situations where you're talking to people real time, you're negotiating contracts. Now, this man had me doing insurance, not necessarily the insurance brokering, but understanding the paperwork, sometimes understanding his executive paperwork, what is happening behind the scenes to fill it out for him, go represent him in different spaces, start giving me prep time. Now, because he did that, by the time that I got to start my business, instead of learning how to, I just had 2-3 years of sitting next to a man telling me what to do. And I got that experience. And then I just followed.
Yeah. Dope. And so when did you start your first venture?
2021, while employed, you see, because by the time that he properly let me go, it was February, but I registered the venture earlier than that, you see, because he was already talking about outsourcing. So I was outsourcing to myself as my head of
as
IT.
a business.
Yeah.
He knew that?
He knew, yeah. He was encouraging it. He was teaching me how to move around it, you see. So by the time that he officially let me go, that's where it just kept going up. Yeah.
But then he sees that, you can run by yourself now. You can do your thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so when you first came to the company, were you just applying as anybody else, or you...
Networking.
Yeah,
that's what actually honestly got me the job. I'm not going to lie. I'm big on networking like myself.
How events, people talk about networking a lot and how...
You want the truth?
Yeah.
The real truth, I go to a church called CRC, you see. Now, in the structure, there's a certain way of operating. You see, they have a bit of discipline in how they go about maintaining the people and taking care of them. So I had a leader who just happened to see that I'm doing something, and then if I leave town because I was graduating, the structure may have a bit of faultiness to it. So they got me the job. You see, they're like, he woke up one day and he's like, if we get you this job, would you be able to keep up with what you're doing? I said, yes. And then they did that. And in all honesty, it's because I showed him what I can do. And then he believed in me sticking next to them. And that was
You showed them from being at church and working in the church and doing...
Yeah, within the same structure that they were using. Because even by the time that they got me to this individual who was also a churchgoer like myself, who was looking for people who understood the same principles as he has,
it was just a clear straight path.
So when you're good at what you do and people get to see you, it's not just about being good. It's people getting to see you, experience you, and like you. You know, I got pushed forward. My name was pushed up the ladder.
The list.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's interesting. And then you start Aurora when?
This one is funny. So actually, Aurora originally was supposed to be a data center. I have a company before this one called Caesar Capital, which is a data warehousing company, you see. So Aurora was supposed to be the name for the data center. Now, COVID hit again during 2021. You know, it hit 2020, 2021, and then we were still feeling the ripple effects in 2022.
For sure.
Now, I have a data center and cloud solutions, but people are not necessarily adopting them the way they did when I started. So now I'm looking for a solution that brings in money weekly, but at the same time has the consistency of being independent and driving in the revenue without me always talking to the client. So I had to sit down.
So you want it recurring?
Yeah, I wanted recurring revenue. You know, a proper MRR. You know. Now, by that time, it was just an idea. You see, and then we were just entertaining it, wondering what are we going to do with all these servers and everything. They can't just sit here. If nobody's going to use it, we got to make use of them somehow. And then my wife just popped up and was like, why don't you support me? I mean, I'm in the media industry. Why don't you do something? We're always talking about how, as a couple, her and I are always saying that I have the ability to scale businesses and scale things and excel in certain ways, but I don't know how to then incorporate my ability into what she's doing. So how do I then build something that incorporates her and it's for her too, in order for her to feel more connected with what I'm doing? So what did I do? I decided I'm going to create a streaming platform for her. That's literally what I was going after. Yeah. I didn't care about the revenue at that time, besides requiring MRR. And then by default, I talked to my co-founder. He liked the idea. I talked to another co-founder who came along after. And we started looking at what's the actual problem that people day-to-day experience in this specific area of media that we can solve. And that happened, and this was 2023. And then now, because I had 3-4 years of experience in business and everything, by the time that I started Aurora, I knew exactly where to go, what to do, how to do it. And then within a very short span of time, within 5-6 months, I was already going and knocking on global doors, because at that point I was ready to scale as an individual, as an executive, even though the business was playing catch up. I'm not going to lie to you. The business was playing catch up, because you find that somebody like me who believes in scalepreneurship, we do things in a way that we get to create a value chain. We do an interconnection of resources and aspects that collectively make sure that one solution comes to perspective, but it's encompassing a lot of aspects that contribute to greater revenue margins, greater profitability, more employment, more ways of making a business scale. You know?
And so all these lessons, in terms of even just pushing on international doors, like you're saying, you learned them in that experience, the Goldwagon. The context and all that.
Not necessarily the context, but how to talk to people.
How to talk to them and how to be able to reach them.
Yes, because you find that, how do I say this? I'll give a very clear example. People think that when you're fundraising, you should go, hi, my name is this. I'm looking for 10,000 to do this and this and this. No, you're probably going to get a no straight up. Because Luena, you don't like it when somebody comes to you immediately and says, hey, I'm in need for this and what. Even though you understand and you can be empathetic about the situation, seeing, understanding and believing what is happening is what contributes to the cohesion of the relationship of to fund you. So I got to understand client user relationships, if I can say that, from them, and then having to be in my own independent business where now it's up to me whether I have a client or not. I got to learn how to speak to people, how to classify different sets of people, who to talk to like this, who not to talk to like this. I got to basically become a therapist, get to understand different.
Yeah. And so how do you go about securing that funding so that you could start the company, so you could push it forward? How were you able to just start? Like, just walk me through that process.
First of all, I want to say this. Most people think fundraising, every business needs fundraising. In fact, there's a difference between traditional businesses and startups, you see. And then still with traditional businesses, there's still service-oriented businesses. They don't need funding. They need you.
You just need a customer.
Yeah, you just need a customer. And in fact, for most scale-oriented businesses, you just need customer retention and acquisition for your business to actually bring in the revenue, you see. So first of all, to fund Aurora, I had a business of which I had to then learn corporate governance, and the fact that I had to learn that I can't just take money from one company and give it to the other. There's like
cheating on this one.
Yeah, cheating on one wife with the other. Excuse me. But so because of stuff like that, we got to raise a corporate fund from my own company for my startup, meaning that I'm indirectly bootstrapping, like I'm dependent on myself. Why? I'm in Africa, man. The first thing that you got to recognize is the fact that African markets and Western markets are not the same. Out there, you can come with an idea and then proofread it and do all that, and then people will back you. But here, you need tangible aspects. You need traction. You need community. You need actual aspects that proof. Yeah, you need proof of concept, So one of the first things I did, especially for the conversation of valuation, I gave myself the valuation by getting funding to invest into my own startup first, you see. So now I invested a certain amount of money, which I'll not disclose even if you ask, that I got to put into the business, immediately valuing it at double the digits that the original fee that we put in was. And then now from that operational capital, you get to buy the assets and everything. And then I had joined something called Club 100 by Vusita Magwayo, actually, of which he himself is big on scaling. So you see, from getting these assets, I immediately talked to Botswana Life, actually, talking about insurance, keyman insurance, things like this, and then paying off the fees, you see. Now, the thing that I was trying to do there was renegotiate the truth behind what startup funding is. I don't have traction. I don't have customers. I have an idea that's still in building. But guess what? I'm already funded. I'm already insured. And I'm insured to a certain amount of money that has surety. So if you invest in me...
You're insured so that if it goes bust...
Yeah, I can pay you. Okay. As an investor.
As a supplier,
you see.
Everybody involved.
Yeah, so everybody involved. So on top of that, one of the things that I got to do, I immediately, again, Club 100 taught me aspects relating to value chains, you see. So now I needed to find a way to make the business dependent on itself, and then the cost of production's basically minimal, you see. So now in-house engineering. In fact, when you talk about valuation at an early stage, most of the things that you're looking at is how much the engineer costs to keep building more than you're looking at anything else. Yeah, because you're starting, So I got to bring in those things, those independent elements that contributed towards the larger picture. And then now, after cementing them, I went out to the market and I'm like, okay, so you are saying that you need me to show you traction. You need me to make investments for you as a global VC venture capitalist. But do you understand the market I operate in? Do you understand that I can just bring a flimsy application or anything to the market because immediately nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to go with it. You bring something poor in our continent. Even if people usually say build traction, go to market faster, build the MVP, build the skateboard, then the bicycle, then the car. You see, that's true for Africa. But the MVP honestly has to be on a scale of a product in the Western markets for you to actually
get it.
I
want to take you back to the issue of valuation.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some way that we also need to understand as entrepreneurs, as business owners.
Yeah.
How are you able to value your startup and say it's worth this much? What metrics are you using to measure that?
Okay. I'm going to keep this conversation at seed. And then by seed is just different classifications of rounds of funding. Seed, pre-seed, Series A, just for the audience. Now, if we're keeping it at seed, the largest round internationally that traditionally somebody's supposed to raise is up to 2 million. That's like the cap. Though you see startups today, because of how things have changed, the investor market has changed, going up to 10 million. But let's look at Africa, you see. So
you're saying if I get 2 million funding, how do I then value my startup?
Okay, let's start with one. Okay, let's say you are raising 1 million.
Yes.
You see, you're raising 1 million, but you don't have a valuation. Usually it's the investor and the market itself that dictates what your valuation is. You see, so the reason I'm saying seed is because at seed you have a product. You see, you're ready to engage the market. You see, now you have a physical product. You go look at the competitors in your space and say, okay, at seed level, what were these people doing? How much were they raising for what? You see, now you find that you have your assets. Like for myself, I had insurance, I had physical assets, and different registrations. And then again, one other thing that I would actually like to give as a pointer, Botswana doesn't have a proper classification of share classes. You see, so it's just common shares in Botswana.
What does that mean?
In the sense that it's when you do shareholding in our country, in Botswana, there's only one type of share that they recognize, one that directly involves the shareholder, and it's how can I say this? There's liability attached to it. Let's use that. There's liability attached to it, and then responsibility to a large part. You see, but in other markets, you have different share classes. So you have common shares like the ones that we were talking about. You have preferential shares, which are usually just about you getting the dividends. With common stock, you're getting common shareholding, you're getting the dividends, plus you actually have to do something in the business, you see, for you to qualify to sit there.
Like the ones they give to the employees?
Yeah, no, that's actually the stock pool, but that's basically in the same conversation.
Okay.
You see, and then you have the preferential, which is usually for shareholders. You see, they're just expecting dividends at the end of the year, at the end of the quarter, or anything, but all they did was give you money.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So if we're talking valuation, you're going to have to look at these aspects because a lot of different facets go into determining what a valuation is. So let's say you don't have assets, you're just kicking off, you're at seed, and you just have the application. After seeing what different people in your community, in your specific sector have been identifying themselves in terms of that valuation, that's a starting point. You see, you say, okay, I sell shoes. So this company values itself at 10 million because it could move the volumes because it had product market fit and it had these things. You make the calculations based on the impact on your market, what you observe in terms of sales. Do you believe that your product can have lifetime value? The cost of what your market could actually be in terms of cost of acquisition of a new client. Let's say, like you right now, if you're going to advertise to somebody to come to your podcast, how much did it actually cost you? You have to take those things into consideration. And then that collective, after you see it, you say, okay, now that I know this is the aspects that I'm looking at, my competitor said he's valued at 5 million because he had a platform, 6 engineers that cost him this amount of money every month. Now that amount of money, I'm multiplying it by the shareholding. And then with that, that's my valuation. You see, now I'm going to raise 1 million based off that said valuation. You see.
So it's basically how much, if I wanted to buy you, I'm going to have to pay all this. I have to pay the engineers you're paying.
Not necessarily. You have to determine the value of the shares first. Like even on SIPA, you have to determine how much one share costs. Let's say maybe one share is 50 cents. Let's talk in dollars so it's a bit easier. One share is 50 cents. You see, you have 10 million shares. You see, now when you have 10 million shares, you multiply that 50 cents times 10 million. That's basically how much shares you have. And then now you want to onboard somebody onto the team. You don't actually take out of the 10 million. You add on to the 10 million. You see, so you want to issue 1 million shares because, again, one share equals to 50 cents, right? So you're going to calculate the amount of shares that you want to give out against the amount of the 1 million times 50 cents, and then that becomes the amount of shares you have to issue onto your cap table. The cap table being your new share amount, percentages, and stuff like that. You see, the people that have shares there. Yeah.
All right. No, good.
We can backtrack.
We can. Before we even go there, I don't know more the other ways of getting funding, because it's a major topic. People are talking about money. We need money to take this from here to there. We need money from here. And over the break, which you guys should be here attending, you how to do that. And so just walk us through some of the alternative forms of funding and just how people should be thinking about it.
Well, one, I want you to also backtrack me when we speak, because I want to divide it into two aspects.
Okay.
There's the global approach to it, and then there's the...
I think let's just go global.
Okay.
So that even people that are listening can be able to, because we have a wide audience.
Okay, perfect. So there's something called a convertible debt. You see?
Convertible?
Debt.
Oh, debt.
Yes, koloto. Yeah, so with a convertible debt, honestly, what we're looking at is being given money with an interest rate and a maturity date.
So debt financing.
Debt financing, basically. The difference between saying debt financing and convertible debt is the fact that with a convertible debt, the money is held against equity in your business, you see. And then at the time that you've received this amount of capital and you're ready to go forward, the issue becomes that you have to raise more capital to operate from external parties, raising an equity fund, an equity round, of which I'll explain in a bit, of which now that because you're involved in an equity fund, it means that more money is coming in against the shares that you have in the business. And because that money is coming in, it means that the previous investor, their valuation has dropped significantly. You see, you've been not the valuation. In fact, you've been diluted. The amount in which we could say that your shareholding is marked by reduces. Dilution is basically reducing. Yeah. You see, so at that point you have an investor who paid you this amount of capital, and then you have terms. And usually the terms that you have with this person who has a convertible note, you're telling them you're going to get this equity as security, but there's a cap. There's where we stop.
So when I can pay, they get the equity.
Yeah. You see, no. They immediately get it. In fact, you see, they immediately get it. The difference here is that because they got this equity, by the time that somebody comes to invest in you again, they have the opportunity to buy equity at the round that they were at the amount of fund, at the specific shareholding price they were at when they met you, because you're going to give them a discount and they're going to give you terms, things that are actually negotiable. But now that somebody else has come to the cap table and introducing a different round of funding, you're being asked to have a different valuation, because now you have to have a post-money valuation, because you had that first investor. Now you have a new one who has more money to the table. Now you reduce that person's shareholding. Now this person has to come back and either have that amount of shareholding. And how do they do that? By buying in more shares. You see, now you reduce the cost of it for him. And now you have somebody who's buying it at $1 per share, but he's still stuck at 50 cents per share, because that's his thing. And then you find that at any moment they can say, okay, I'm ready to leave. Now give me 7% of the business. You see, that's the convertible part. It converts into equity.
Immediately.
Yeah, not the amount that they're owed. You see, so it's the amount that they're owed in 7% of your business if they took 7%. You see, that interest they gained against it. But usually people would push that maturity date a bit further, so that they keep letting you grow, so that when they pull out, they have a lot more money. You see, I don't know if you follow.
Yeah, I get it.
But if we're talking about debt financing, we don't have equity. You're just expecting money back against interest.
Against interest.
You see? Yeah.
Okay. What about another one?
And then we're looking at an equity round, of which you say, this is the amount of shares I have. this is my pool of shares. I have 10,000 shares that I want to sell. And then one share is at $1 now. So this is what is happening in my business. This is how we're operating the business. And then you have to do the due diligence on both sides of the table, actually, to say, okay, you invest like this. Okay, this is my business like this. So now buy 10% of my business for this much. You see, and then you go into the negotiations of it and the nitty-gritties of what it entails to actually buy into the business, which is quite a lengthy process. It's like on average 6 months, if we're being honest, because that's detailed. You see, now because you've moved into that equity funding, the actual security is your shares, your equity. It's not your assets. It's not anything. You're basically saying that the strongest thing about your business is the shares, because you're operating in a capital market. You're operating in a space where you're going to keep growing consistently. You see, and then now that person bought those amount of shares, and then the business continues.
And it continues.
Yeah.
Okay, so we gave an example over the break.
Yeah.
In terms of somebody that, if you're starting this business, how would I want to get funding for it? Let me give an example of a tech company. Say I'm starting a tech company. Maybe I'm doing drones. Whatever.
Well, I can speak about a tech company.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? I'm having drones, and I want to scale it, and I want to make it big, and I want funding for that company. I want to move from, say right now, maybe I'm making 200,000 a year. Say I'm making 200,000 a year, and I want to take this company to 2 million. 2 million a year in terms of revenue, not even profit, just revenue. How would I go about getting funding to be able to push me to that level?
First, just so that I know this, the 200 annual recurrent revenue, is it something that you did from a previous round of funding, or it's just the business generating money?
I just bootstrapped from the beginning, and so I just started running it, but now I want to grow. I want to step into new markets and all that. Okay.
The truth there is, one, you already have a valuation, if we're being honest. You already have market fit. You already showed that you have a strong position. So the question is, what exactly do you want to do with the money that you're asking for? Because you have to be very certain what the capital is for when you approach somebody, because you have to explain what happens. You have to explain the numbers, You
have to let them know, okay, I'm building this product, X, Y, and Z, or I'm trying to...
So now that I have a product, I'm trying to scale up. I'm trying to buy more drones. I'm trying to hire more people. I'm trying to do this. I try to have a bigger operation. I'm trying to expand to a new market.
Maybe I'm trying to move from Bots to SA and Zambia.
Yeah. First of all, honestly, you have to actually talk to people, talk to investors, network. And then I'm talking, for instance, the best way that I've got to see, go on LinkedIn, okay? Look up, search for these accelerators, search for angel investors, search for venture capitalists. Comment on that stuff, talk to them. Say, hi, this is happening. Let me just give you a perfect example. There's a woman called Raya Skoglund. She posts a lot about how to communicate with venture capitalists. You see, one of the biggest things she says is, you'll see that today this venture capitalist is telling you how he was at a meeting and then somebody was pitching to them and they said something disgusting, or they said something like this that they didn't like. You comment, how would you prefer it? How would somebody talking to you approach you about investment if you had a choice in suggesting? You see, that's a comment. Now that person is forced to actually reply you, especially since the algorithm actually wants them to reply you.
Yes.
Now they told you exactly how they do it. And then you go research on the investment thesis. Okay, this person likes to invest like this. Now every single time that they comment, you are around them, because that's the person you actually want investing in you. You're talking to them. They see you. These people have to be around you. You post, because the moment you follow them or the moment you connect with them, everything you post, everything you share, they see. Everything they share or they post, you see. So now, because you're frequently interacting with them, there's a bit more traffic coming from both ends in regards of what you guys are doing. So now you have your product, you're showcasing your product on the platform, and then sometimes this person posts something, and then your solution, your tech solution solves the problem that this person is talking about. You're like, Yeah, that's perfect. In fact, here at this company, we're doing this and this and this and this. Would you like to actually see about this? This was nice. I appreciate you and everything. Sometimes you go on the actual direct inbox, you say, I appreciate the comments or the suggestions that you share publicly.
So you don't just from jump cold email or cold DM.
This is like being pursued. Like a man, you have to pursue your partner. They like being pursued. They like knowing what's happening before you tell them what's happening. They like to see it, experience it. You see, traction comes from FOMO, the fear of missing out for them. You see, so now that you engage this person, after some time, you're like, my business does this and this and this, and then I really like your approach on how you did this and this and this. Can we set up a meeting and we talk about what my business is? So I just introduce it to you, and then you give me advice where possible. If it's paid, it's paid. If it's not paid, it's not paid, and then we continue. That's them knowing about your business, right? And then you independently go and open your funding round. You just decide, okay, I'm fundraising. I have 6 months. I'm going to be fundraising for 6 months. This is the type of investor I want to look at. You go look at those type of investors. You go decide how much you're fundraising. You go prepare your data room, your pitch decks, your everything. And then now, because you've been talking to this person for some time, you're going to tell them, hey, by the way, my company is actually fundraising, and I saw that you actually like this about us and stuff like that. Would you be interested in having a chat about what we're doing, and then down the line, maybe even potentially invest? You see? Now that person, because they know you, they like you, now it's no longer about your product. It's about the founder. It's about the person. It's about the relationship. So whatever you do, they back.
So the goal is just to build a relationship.
Yeah, the goal is the relationship.
Is just to build a relationship and just keep going at it, keep going at it.
Yeah, because most investors, they actually know what the market looks like. And in fact, never think that you are more how can I say, you know more about the subject matter than they do, because they've been exposed. And then again, don't tell them to sign NDAs. They hate that. Yeah. Okay. You have a proprietary software.
But then how do you protect yourself?
And
how do you make sure that your IP is not taken, whatever?
The truth, they will tell you they don't have the time. They don't have the time to actually pursue what you're doing, because only you know what you can do. Only you can be the catalytic factor to why that specific business would succeed, not them. Even if they go copy it. I mean, I don't want to call anybody out, but we have Twitter, and then we have Threads, and then we understand the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. They couldn't replicate the model, but they did the same. They basically do the same thing. Okay.
Okay. So you gave us a bit about VCs. I want you to go more into it in terms of the do's and don'ts, in terms of approaching VCs. Is there certain places that, I don't know, maybe in Botswana, that you have met VCs, or those common places where okay, if I go there at certain time at this place,
I'm going to find a VC. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. This is something I learned the hard way too. In fact, I actually once asked somebody that question, and they threw a truck at my face, told me, you're not serious. But the reality is this. In Botswana, there are actually private equity firms like African Alliance, Hori Capital, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm saying the name, mispronouncing the names. There's quite a number of venture capitalists and private equity investors that basically utilize, even BDC, that utilize the pension funds to fund these ideas that operate on the scale of the international entities. Just that you don't know it, because that they only started recognizing private equity as an asset class in the startup world recently, because the startup ecosystem in Botswana is just starting to bloom, So those people are the first areas in which I would actually advise people to go to understand what they're doing, but actually have something that's tangible and backable, not an idea. In Botswana, it's about what you have. And then you're talking, at the same time, there's Angel Network Botswana. Yeah, that one is the most prevalent one at the moment. But if we're being honest, the biggest investors are on LinkedIn. They're on Twitter. That is the truth. In fact, when they do the due diligence against you, they want your LinkedIn. You see, they want to see what you're posting, because your LinkedIn is basically a CV.
What do they want from the LinkedIn?
It's your CV. It's your it's how you communicate, how you interact with people, what you post, what you say. And in fact, now that even LinkedIn can verify that this is really the person I'm talking to.
Yeah, for sure.
That's credibility. They want stuff from Crunchbase where you communicate whether you raised money, you did something. But in terms of LinkedIn, it's usually about your behavioral patterns, your education,
What you like.
yeah, what you did, what you can do, what you communicate. You see, because you find that I'm a 2-time founder, I'm a Techstars founder, I have traction, I'm doing this, I'm going on a decade of experience, stuff like that. That's interesting to them. Now you just started off and you have a LinkedIn for 2 days, but you just put your LinkedIn, put your name and put a picture, but you never said what you're about, what you're doing and stuff like that. They're not going to pay attention to it.
Okay. Talk to me about these other aspects then, like, pitching, preparing a pitch deck. Walk us through those. Just best practices in terms of pitching and just preparing a good pitch deck. Somebody told me, one of the judges by the Creative Business Cup, she told me you need to have a 3-minute,
an
1 minute, 3
pitch.
minutes, and 5-minute pitch, because you never know where you're gonna meet them. Maybe in an elevator, maybe way. And so you need to have those.
You see that one with the elevator? That one is tricky.
Yeah.
That one is very tricky.
Yeah.
Because even I get tired of somebody just walking up. Hey, I'm doing this and this and this and this and this. I'm doing this and this and this and this.
What's a cool way to do it though?
Warm introduction. Don't talk about your business.
So
yet.
just take it.
Set a meeting. Talk to me and then set a meeting. Oh, hi, I'm Paul. I saw that you were doing the deep dive sessions. That's really cool. When's the next session? Can I come?
And I'll ask you, have you subscribed? No, I'm leaving.
You see?
Yeah.
And to communicate. Oh no, I just actually discovered you, and what you were doing is quite fantastic. Now I want to be part of the live audience. Where exactly are you located? How can I do this? In fact, I'm so passionate about some of the topics that you do. Can you get me to your place? Now it's about you. Now you want to get me there.
How much money do you want?
You see?
For sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Because we did that warm introduction. I
so
showed
it's about
interest.
a relationship.
It's about the relationship. I swear, more than anything. In fact, as a part of Techstars, they invest in the founder more than anything, because businesses fail. People
talk to me about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're willing to talk about Techstars like that and just everything about it.
Yeah.
Even probably Y Combinator. Yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
Just walk us through those two. Just
should we touch on the topic we were just touching first, or just jump to Y Combinator? What is the audience saying?
Let's jump.
Okay. Yeah. Techstars and Y Combinator and quite a number.
And even how you got into it. Because I think
that's a story. Ne?
Yeah. Just tell us, because people are listening and they want to know, how did he get into it?
Yeah. Actually, you see that the accelerators, global accelerators. In fact, Techstars is like a 1% acceptance rate globally. So it's not easy to get into these things. Yes, Harvard
for sure.
For startups
for sure.
And the biggest thing that you get with these accelerators, besides funding and other opportunities of funding later, is a network of people that know what they're doing, know what you're doing, how to get across the finish line, and a whole lot more, because that's the real value, And because of that network, you find that they try to only get the cream of the crop with everybody, because once you just accept everybody, your value sort of diminishes.
Yeah, diminishes for sure.
Yeah. So
what do they look at?
They look at Techstars looks at the founders and the team. You see, Y Combinator.
I wanted you to. Yeah.
Y Combinator looks at the idea and its market fit so much that when you apply for both, because I've applied for both actually. When you apply for Y Combinator, they're going to ask you.
You will get a 10.
Let's calm down. Yeah. You're calling people they don't know.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So when we're talking in terms of Y Combinator, you are having issues where now they're going to ask you, what are you doing? How are you doing it? What are your growth projections? What are your margins, right? And then down the line, they're going to ask you, if you didn't do this business, what would you do? Because they'll tell you, we've invested in companies where what they actually came to us for, they didn't want. They wanted what they were talking about. You come saying, hey, I'm doing media and what. And then you come at the bottom and you say, oh, I'm doing a health app. I want to do a health app possibly that can do this and this and this. And then they like that because that's more tangible than what you're doing there. You see, because you find, like, for myself, I'm in a very capital intensive market. So it's not easy for somebody to just come and back me.
For sure.
You see, but somebody who's doing something that's solving a real problem for the community, they're going to back, you know, because it'll be easy to build, you know, things that have a step-by-step thing. So now with Techstars, it's about the team.
Founder and the team.
Yeah, it's about the team, It's about what can you do? What have you done? What is your team really about? You know?
So if I have a track record, does that already take my value higher, my valuation higher, just because I'm the guy that did this and it was successful?
It contributes to them setting you up for an introductory meeting, but it does not qualify you for the final bit. There's a stage to it. You apply, they accept, and then you get introductory call, and then you get an interview 1, interview 2, and then you meet the managing director of the program, and then you get an offer. You see, that's the stage. But because I knew I was in a very different part of the world, I didn't go about it that way. I applied, yes, but I went on LinkedIn and then I looked for everyone that works for Techstars, connect. And then I took the same template of a message. ChatGPT even wrote it for me. And then I would only change the person. Hi Sylvia, hi this person, you know, and then I'll send it to each and every one of them, and then they reply. Not in the same program, because there's like different batches of Techstars for each different type of cohort. And then whoever replies, I asked for a meeting. Again, never leave without actually asking for a meeting with anybody that you actually.
What were you looking for in the meeting?
I was looking for an opportunity to say, this is my value.
To present yourself.
To present myself. You see. Now, I got several calls, multiple calls even, from these individuals in terms of them sitting with me and hearing me out. Because guess what? People never actually just tried. All you had to do was just apply. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. Just that we believe that we can't apply there because we were not there. We're not doing businesses that are going for billion-dollar valuations. But you don't know that because we're only now being exposed to the idea of taking Africa to the global stage.
To the global stage.
You know, yeah. So
there's many problems here.
Yeah,
that can be solved.
Exactly,
there's
that could be very profitable.
That are very profitable.
In fact, I have an argument that in which when you look at the Western market and the Northern African market, that's where you see a lot of these accelerators and funding and what, but not Southern Africa. Why? You know, because we don't knock on people's doors. We're waiting for somebody to see me. You see, somebody said, work until they see you, something like that. Like work and somebody will identify that you're working hard. But that's just part of the give me the phrase. I'm not quite specific about the phrase, but it's just part of the angle. You see, so I applied just like everybody else, but then I went the extra mile to go talk to these individuals, and then I got to tell them about my business and what my business is doing before they even decided to accept me during the formal application phase. So by the time that they actually look at my application, this guy. You see, because guess what?
You know what I think people are mad at in terms of working hard? Because it goes even online. So tell us who connected you. Stop telling us work hard. Well, I think people it's a thing of the strategy. Once you know your strategy, that this is good, I can do this like this. That's when you work hard on this, that you know is working. Yeah, because people don't want to expend energy on something where they're not sure with it. Yeah,
like for me, I'm an introvert, and by default, I'm a bad communicator.
An introvert?
But I talk a lot. Funny enough. Yeah, for real.
Crazy.
So
when you get to share, you talk a lot.
It's not. You could say. My wife actually says when I'm uncomfortable, that's when I talk a lot.
Yeah.
You see, but once I'm comfortable, I don't even. So you see, now, because outside of business, it's not easy to reach me. It's not easy to communicate with me because all I'm doing is I'm on. My button is always on to the next thing. So you find that I'm talking to all these investors, all these people, I'm networking and what. You see me networking. But then you wonder, how is it that I'm terrible at keeping up with personal communications and relationships?
Yeah.
Because that's the actual goal that I set to achieve.
To achieve.
You know.
I get that. Before we wrap it up, I want you, if you could leave here with one major piece of advice in terms of just starting up in from your startup to the stage right now that you have experienced in business. If you could leave us with that, what would it be?
You're all going to make mistakes. I've made colossal mistakes myself. Accept it. Appreciate it. You're going to mess up every single day that you are doing something. And for the most case, you don't even have an advisor next to you. You're just going. And if you are disrupting something, you are testing what's working, and then you find yourself making terrible decisions. And then stay away from debt. Stay away from money. Stay away. I'm a very hopeful person, and I'm an optimist. I will plan and then want to be in control of the outcome and the process. But in between, the process is going to tell me, hey, Brazil, suitara. Or it's going to tell me it's not my space, and then something bad is going to happen. But if you involve things that are like debt and other issues, it's going to come back knocking on your door. So find alternatives on how to make what you want to do happen without requiring money first. Do everything that doesn't require money before you actually get to ask for money. Like there are templates on contracts, templates on these things and stuff like that already exist. You know people that are already in business that you can say, can you look at this and see if this is real? Talk to those people before you go hire a lawyer. And then at the same time, get a good lawyer.
Very important.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Consider the policies in the market that you're working on, and then know that you're going to fail. Everybody's going to make the mistake. Even if people come and chase you after it and tell you things, it will all be okay at a point. You just have to make sure that you get up strong. In fact, the more you can fight during crisis and navigate through the crisis, that's when the investors will really look at you. Because even right now, I made some colossal mistakes, but in my moment of rise, then in my come up, everything that I learned and everything I was communicating, that's when the people around me and my network were like, no, we're ready. He's ready. Because guess what? That tables you're gonna only have to sit at if you've messed up.
Hey.
And if you haven't,
have
they're gonna say, this one is wet behind the ears. We can't deal with this one. You see, you're gonna do things. So just look at ways to not use money first and then go for that, because you're showing the people that would invest in you that you will make the best use of that capital.
Protect the money.
Yeah, protect the money. And it's not your mind.
So that it protects
your
you.
mind.
Thank you guys for watching this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Deep Dive is dedicated to bringing you the most comprehensive and engaging information about business, personal finance, and personal development. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all our latest content. If you like this video, give it a like to show your support and help us reach a wider audience. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family who may be interested. Sharing helps us grow our community and connect with like-minded individuals. Leave a comment below and give us your biggest takeaway on this episode. If you're interested in being a part of our live studio audiences, make sure to register for the next show. Can't make it to the show? No problem. Check out our Patreon page to watch the full episode and get exclusive access to more great content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Deep Dive.